Welcome back, brothers and sisters. I am Braden. This is Langley Outdoors Academy, the place where we not only talk about what's going on in the gun world, but also how we're going to fix it together. And the content that we're going to talk about today is one of the single best responses and laying out of why the ATF is a complete usurpation of power and violates the separations of powers that I have seen in a long time. This goes to the idea that we're going to pass the blessing of the Second Amendment along to the next generation by fighting, by bringing lawsuits that result in conclusions and actual verdict, or not verdicts, but opinions that I'm about to show you. Taken from something that was an obscure product into something that is broadly applicable to our rights across all spectrums of our federal overreach is massively important. Now, of course, everything will be linked into the description box below. I can't wait to hear what you guys think. And of course, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn the notification bell on if you want to spread the message of freedom to everyone that you know and hold dear. And I thank you for that support and consideration. And the content today is brought to you by something that I need you to know about. This is by Caliky. Now, this looks like something that you've seen before. It's anything but. This is the single solution that gets around every single law that would infringe upon your rights if you are in 13 states of the United States right now. This is the product that turns a typical AR into a bolt action. It's incredible for training. It's incredible for precision. It's incredible for introduction to the actual platform. But that's not all that it is. This company has designed something that is going to get you around getting rid of items that are perfectly legal to own and everything that is ancillary to that, but also is funding the support to get rid of the very laws that this prevents you from being obliged to. This is something you need to check out. It's called Caliky. You can hunt with it in certain states. You can do all manner of things that you never could before simply by one piece, which is a pivotal innovation. And I appreciate them sponsoring this content. Check it out. Again, it is Caliky. And now, beautiful people, let's get into what I want to show you because this is the stuff that makes it work. Now, credit where credit's due. This is a lawsuit from NAGR, National Association for Gun Rights. This is about something that's called the FRTs. Okay, if you're not in the gun world, FRT is a very niche product. That's not what this is about. It may be about the lawsuit, but this is about extrapolating what this judge just said off of this lawsuit. Starting the fight brings you things that can be applied in a broad-based manner. Check this out, because what this judge did was not only did he completely shatter the idea that the ATF can just make up rules whole cloth and just determine what is and is not illegal outside the confines of Congress, but he also put forward in the conclusion, which I've got right here, I'm going to walk through it, the groundwork for getting rid of all of the rules the ATF is just making up however they want, or the CDC. It's all shifting towards this angle of the judiciary and the SCOTUS does not like the overreach the executive bureaucratic agencies are doing at the behest of the executive agencies. Or executive branch rather. Let me get into this conclusion and just listen to this. Send this one out because this one is phenomenal. Again, don't just think about what piece of product or material they're talking about. Think about this broad base. Check this out. Conclusion. And everything's linked if you want to read the entire thing. But again, this is NAGR versus Garland. There is no denying the tragic nature of Las Vegas shooting that motivated the final rule. This is the rule to ban pretty much anything they want considering a machine gun. It's a trigger, but they call it a machine gun. But no matter how terrible the circumstances, there is never a situation that justifies a court-altering statutory text that was democratically enacted by those who are politically accountable. Politically accountable. Because remember, in the Chevron case, which is the Looper Enterprises SCOTUS decision, the entire thing was the executive bureaucratic agencies are making up the rules and interpreting what Congress wanted but never wrote down. So it's a complete ambiguous nature of whatever I want, and I can interpret Congress's rules because I'm the executive bureaucratic agency. That was what Chevron deference was. The Cargill case took a big chunk out of that. The Looper Enterprises case destroyed that. And now you're seeing another case built off of those two. That's why this is so important. This is not just one massive event. This is another event in a continuation across the board of freedom expansion. All right? Listen to this. The Constitution assigns such legislative choices the appropriate elected officials, not life-tenured judges and unelected bureaucrats. Boom. Rather than respect the intentional feature of our democratic system, defendants chose to advance a policy agenda wholly divorced from the NFA's statutory text. Now, this is the defendants, we the ATF or the DOJ. Thus, To allow defendants' unlawful action to stand would be functionally to rewrite the NFA. That is not how our democratic system functions. Indeed, it is never a court's job to rewrite statutory text. Henson, this part I don't really need to see. I want to get to the baseline part. Here we go. This remains true even when shocking events may underscore the need for legislative change, talking about mass shootings and how they try to use the ATF to change rules for our gun rights. And even when the prudent constraint produces undesirable results, one must remember that circumventing the democratic process to effectuate desired change undermines the animating policy goals upon which our system rests. A democratic path to change already exists. That is the legislative branch. This is one of the best conclusions you're ever going to hear. I mean, I have not read one this good in a long time. By jumping the gun, defendants rob Congress of the ability to capitalize on political support to alter the statutory language following the Las Vegas shooting. Indeed, multiple bills on this exact issue were pending in Congress when defendants decided to act. None of these bills were given the chance to become law. As is often the case, public attention waned, taking with it the momentum for legislative action. But this result is even more pernicious than the mere inability to enact legislative change. Each time an agency circumvents the legislative process, it chips away at the most prudent reason for the separation of powers. That is, ensuring unelected and unaccountable individuals do not make the law. This reason alone compels the court's decision today. That is so massive. This judge is openly accusing the executive branch by utilizing the unelected bureaucrats without accountability to the voters for changing laws that the representatives should have done. He's hitting on separation of powers. He's hitting on the usurpation of power. He's hitting on the ability to change the entire system from the executive bureaucrats over the legislative process, which is a foundation of our democratic system. That's exactly what he said, and it's beautiful. Now, let me get past the remedies because there's a lot of things that he ordered them to do, but I want to show you the end here. This is a really important piece. Every year, our country commemorates the revolution waged against a tyrannical executive. Every year, that's, the whole freedom thing. To safeguard against future tyranny, our founding documents designed a system that prevents undue concentrations of power in order to protect important rights and to ensure that a legislative consensus is reached before enacting laws on the most important issues in society. Such foresight is especially prudent in cases like this one. Indeed, while this case may seem focused on firearms, it represents so much more. It is emblematic of a devastating problem that increasingly rears its head in federal courts: rampant evasion of the democratic process. Few issues more accurately underscore this problem than the present case. Our nation would do well to remember the very reasons and sprint that inspired our democratic system of governance in the first place. So ordered, July 23rd, Reed O'Connor. Now, Reed O'Connor is a judge in Texas, and he's been a saint on a lot of things. But the important thing that I'm going to bring to attention here, it's not about something you call an FRT, a force reset trigger. It's not about what the ATF decides the machine gun is not, even though it's a frickin' trigger. What's important here is the usurpation of our entire system through the executive branch. That's what this judge just hit. It undermines our democratic process. It undermines our entire lawmaking system. It violates the separation of powers. There are so many ways that this is a perfect response. This is right up there with Roger Benitez with the AR bans. Like, this is beautiful, and I recommend you read it yourself. It's linked right down there in the description box. I will see you on the next one. We have so much to cover, and thank you for stopping by.